Well, good morning, Arti. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning to you too.
Well, thank you for joining me in this fabulous location.
It's gorgeous.
These Savage Gardens in just by Tower Hill.
Yep.
And today we're going to have a conversation, funnily enough, about mindset.
Yeah.
So for those of you who may have seen these before, we're doing a series of podcasts, and essentially it's a conversation between us and kind of you guys as well, where we focus on people's stories, on this case Aarti, who I'll get her to tell us a little bit more about who she's in a minute, and what's inspired us, what challenges we've maybe had in life, what we've done to overcome them, and just see if anything that comes out of that can maybe inspire you on your journey through life. So, without further ado, Aarti, who are you?
Who am I? Right, good question. So I'm Aarti Parmar, and I am a brand consultant and a brand coach, and I'm helping businesses to create authentic and meaningful brands.
Fabulous. And Aarti and I met a few weeks ago now. It was at, I think, was it Watford Expo?
That's right.
And I was doing a bit of a talk, and you'll probably recognise this, that you can go to an event or something and there are certain people who just stick in your memory, they shine because of something they've said, and Aarti was kind of super bright, bubbly, just really interesting. And then we met up for just kind of a follow-up chat to see how we might maybe help each other. One-to-one, work with each other. And I was fascinated by certain aspects of your story. So, if you'd like to share a little bit about how you kind of started your journey, if you like, in business. And,
sure, absolutely. But before I do, I don't think I've told you this, but at the expo, I was actually supposed to go home a little bit earlier, but when I met you at the stall, and then you said you were going to be giving a talk, I actually stayed back so I could hear you, and I'm really glad that I did, because I thought you were fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. Flattery, you'll get everywhere. Extra points for that. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Right. So yes, so that was part of my journey to be then here. So looking back at in terms of how I started and how things have come about. So I did actually do visual communication design at university, specialised in graphic design, and I always had this sort of ambition to work and travel abroad. So through a family friend, I got an opportunity to go out to Singapore. Actually, my first choice was New York, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out.
New York, Singapore, same place.
So I did actually, after uni, work in London for a year. And when this opportunity came about, I was 22, and I said to my parents, I'm going to go work and travel for about 6 months to a year. So I went over to Singapore, and then I was there for a little while, and then from Singapore I got sent to Malaysia, and I started working with an ad agency over there. Through that ad agency, I then met some local business partners. So they were like, look, you do graphic design, this guy does colour separation, this guy does printing, why don't we set up a one-stop shop? So at this point I was 24.
Okay.
And I said, well, I've got like zero experience of running a business, and I'm still fairly green in just even doing graphic design. So the person said to me, he was like, look, there's dime a dozen graphic designers out there. If it doesn't work out for you, we'll get somebody else in. And talk about a shift in mindset, because it was like, oh, okay, I really don't have anything to lose. So I thought, all right, let's give this a go. So I did, and through the creative agency, through the partners and stuff, they had some great contacts and stuff. So we ended up doing work for public listed property developers, department stores that were ranged all over, placed all over, nationally over Malaysia, to high-end restaurants, to health, to jewellery, you name it, we probably touched the sector somewhere or another. But what that also did was, from graphic design, I very quickly went to growing a team, then going out networking for business, marketing, business development, client-facing, things that I totally wasn't trained in or hadn't really come across. So it was really, really good exposure. It was part of, again, that sort of ongoing learning journey.
Okay, so just don't know if I've got this correctly. I think you told me before you started like in Luton.
Yes, that's right. That's where my born and bred.
Yeah, born and bred in Luton. You're on the other side of the planet. You're 24.
Yes.
You've been given this opportunity. So obviously exciting. So what were the kind of the challenges you faced in terms of having to suddenly adapt to all of these
so
new
you know,
environment?
now I'm in a different country, so there's a different work culture, different ethic, different style of communication. I did find myself probably talking a lot less slower whilst I was out there as well, because you're so used to like reeling things off when you're talking to your friends or family, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I did find myself, right, okay, I'm saying things, and then I'd get this really like blank look of, what did she just say? And then I realised that, okay, I really need to slow this down.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different things to adapt to in that sense.
Okay. And I think it's that peculiarly English thing maybe, that when we go abroad, back in the day you used to think you spoke slowly and very loudly, that people would somehow understand you more. But I guess the English was relatively good out there. And,
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
And so in terms of you're having met you're very vivacious and kind of outgoing. You're obviously in a can-do space. Now, were you always that person, or did you kind of go on any journey to get you into that mindset?
That's a really good question, because personal development was something I was always interested in, but I would say in Malaysia, just through the people that I came across, I'm very fortunate, came across a few different people who helped me to go into a personal development leadership course, but also another very special person that came into my life very randomly is actually a spiritual mentor.
Okay.
And through this spiritual mentor, they would call them masters, so he would call his masters, so to me he was known as Master Alan. So his masters were actually monks.
Okay.
That would come from like Tibet and Thailand and stuff like that.
No messing about, straight into the Tibetan monks. Wow.
Honestly, it was just like really, really surreal. So this Master Alan used to hold these talks and seminars on mind-to-mind communication, philosophy of life, effective communication. And I'd attend, and he and his family, they were like, oh, you must come round to the house, and I was like, okay, sure. So I'd go to the house, and then, he'd hold these small talks about, again, mind-to-mind communication and things like that. And then they'll be like, oh, we've got this very enlightened monk coming, would you like to join us? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So, in my 20s, whilst my friends are sort of out and about clubbing and stuff, I'm hanging out with monks.
Wow,
yeah,
brilliant.
it was phenomenal.
What a kind of great time of life to get that. So, I've been kind of into personal development on and off most of my life, but not really got it for many years. And I probably didn't start embracing it till I was 30-ish, maybe. And then kind of tiptoed in and out a bit. You're 24 on the other side of the planet. Just shows that if you kind of go out there and look for it, and you're working with.
Well, the interesting thing was I didn't actually go out and look for it.
Okay.
It wasn't like, okay, let me search. I met. It's so cheap to eat out in Malaysia, so I used to pretty much have breakfast, lunch, and dinner outside. So one morning I went to this restaurant, and it was really busy. And there was a group of elderly people there, and I was like, oh, would you mind if I sat down? I'm like, no, please. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just having my breakfast to myself, but I could hear their conversations, and I was thinking, and I kind of smiled out loud. I didn't realise I was actually doing this. And I started smiling out loud, and this elderly gentleman said, he goes, dear, what are you smiling at? So I was like, oh, gosh, I am actually smiling out loud. So I said, do you know what, it's really lovely sitting with you. You're having such good fun and banter in the morning, and no one's complaining about their health. They're just having a really lovely conversation. So from that day onwards, every morning I'll go and meet them for breakfast. And that's when this particular gentleman said to me, he goes, oh, my friend runs these seminars on philosophy of life and mind-to-mind communication. Would you like to attend? And I was like, oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't like sort of really looking for it, but or maybe I was and I didn't realise it.
This is what's interesting. I often get asked, what's the difference between successful entrepreneurs and, how much of it is luck, how much do we create? And listening to the way you tell the story, it's interesting. You say, oh, I wasn't looking for it and I didn't really do anything because it just came to me. you decided on a career path. You wanted to go to New York, but then had an opportunity which you took and put yourself in that place. You happened to see some elderly people eating, and you went and sat down. So many of us, and I know for years I wouldn't have had, I kind of almost too embarrassed to go and break into a conversation, which people find hard to believe now, but absolutely true. But you took that step. You were sat there smiling, so you kind of created, is it fair to say you created all those opportunities, whether on purpose or by accident? You were there, and therefore if you hadn't created those moments, they couldn't have accidentally happened to you either, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you know what, you've actually just made me think about something, because when I was a kid, I loved Karate Kid. This is, the original one, and I always used to think, one that inspired me to do Taekwondo as a kid, and the other thing was like, I always wanted a Mr. Miyagi in my life, but for my mind, and maybe that's where it started from.
There you go.
Gosh, I maybe put it out there when I was 7.
Well, this is it. When I read biographies of famous sports people or actors, you'll probably have read these yourself, and if you haven't, I encourage you to seek them out. They almost always talk about, when I was 6, 7, I had a vision, I had a dream, I always dreamt I was going to be. And how random is that you've just remembered that you kind of wanted a Mr. Miyagi type person in your life, and here you are in your early 20s. You're only mixing with Tibetan monks, and then you've got a spiritual leader. I'm a huge believer that we create, because everything I've read and then experienced in my life, when I've thought positive thoughts, and thought, what can I do, who can I attract towards me, and it's been positive, that's what I've attracted. Equally, I've had some moments in my life when it's been really kind of dark, and I know that for a while I've almost created that as well, for reasons which at the time I just almost wanted to go away and hide. And I had just over 10 years ago, a really kind of darkish period of my life where I was in very toxic, negative relationships, drinking too much. But that was because I kind of had a bit of a challenge a few years earlier, and I felt I wasn't worthy or deserved stuff for a while. So I created that kind of negativity to me. And then realised, hang on a minute, no, you don't have to do that, let's reframe it. And was able to redo it. So I love the Mr. Miyagi that you brought into your life. So what kind of keeps you going? Because a lot of people watch this, maybe want to know, well, how do I apply challenge? If I've got a challenge in my personal life, my professional life, people seem to be keen to know, what is it that keeps you going, or what processes, if you have such a thing, on a daily basis, get you up, because you're one of the most positive people I've met. So how is that just accidental, or do you kind of work on that? How does it all come into your life?
There's probably various aspects that helps me to be in this kind of state of mind, in that sense, and it's continuous learning about yourself, learning about your how to manage those emotions and stuff like that. So things like, I love attending any kind of sort of self-development, personal development things. So I've done some Tony Robbins things, having that awareness of what these things mean to us, listening to podcasts, that's a great way of continuously feeling, how you can continue to feel motivated and great and stuff. But meditation is a really, really big thing for me that I do on a regular basis, and when I haven't done it, I feel the difference. When I am doing it on a regular basis, I feel the difference. Because running a business, it's different things will get thrown at you. That's inevitable. It's going to happen. So it's more about how are you going to react to these things. And something that Master Alan always used to say, it's about being mindful of every thought, speech, and action.
Yeah.
So if something bad or it doesn't go your way, how are you going to react, and how are you going to be mindful of what thought you're going to have, what action are you going to take, or what speech are you going to say out? You can either be really angry about something, or you can process it and then say, right, actually, what could be the possible outcomes here? How can I react to this in a way that's going to serve me or serve that person? So it's really about thinking things through and not straight bulldozing in.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the thing that it took me a long time to get was that I'd go on a course. You know, I do the Tony Robbins things. I still listen to his Power Hour and Unleash the Power Within. If you've never done that, it's great. Fred Coveney, the Zig Ziglar is another one that I still listen to on a regular basis. And there's a quote which you'll probably hear this loads of times if you watch these, and I'll make no apologies for repeating it. And he said, look, motivation is a bit like showering. If you don't do it kind of every day, you start to whiff a bit. And his weird but really useful analogy is, you know, if any of us didn't shower for several days, well, we'd start to probably stink a bit, you know? And it's the same with our thinking. You develop stinking thinking. If you don't keep topping up every day, then you allow the negativity into your life. And if we focus on what can go wrong, and what's not right in our life, and when something goes the wrong way, then do you know what, the brain kind of comes on board and goes, yeah, I'll keep you there, I'll keep you in that negative space. Conversely, and I share this with clients a lot, if you're hitting challenging times, if you know, something's not going your way, that's when you need to dig deep. So no, I need to keep my brain in, right, let's look at the lesson there, and the responding to something, how we respond. So last week, I have a 4-month-old son. He'd had his injections, he was really poorly. My PC went down, my relatively brand new PC went down, and my website crashed, all within the space of a few days. So when people ask me how I am, I'm pretty much always fantastic or marvellous, but I had to say I'm getting to marvellous or getting to fantastic.
I like the way you reframe that.
Yeah, I have to, because you know, the reality is I'm having an awful day. But what's the point in saying that? And if I didn't top up my kind of positivity bank every day, I'll be as negative and down as anybody else might be. So to hear you say that you do that. And meditation, let's just, I talk about it all the time, but you know, just share with people you know, your experience of that.
Sure. So actually, again, when I was in Malaysia, I learned how to meditate over there, and you know, people do have these misconceptions. I can't sit there for a long time, and you know, my mind goes everywhere and that kind of thing. I think there's so many different aids out there, and people that are you know, conducting workshops on meditation and how to, and then you've got all the apps and guided meditations, and you know, for me, it's about how badly do you want something in your life, and you know, how badly do you want that improvement for you know, your mind, because meditation does, and I'm sure that there are scientific things that have been proved about this. It does help to calm the mind. It does help you see things from a different perspective and see things a bit more concisely. So you know, a calmer mind is gonna you know, decide something in a different way, as opposed to a very sort of cluttered, you know, stressed mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who've been on a website, I teach a program, or one of the programs we teach is called the 7 Key Mindsets. And the number 2 mindset is the calm mindset. And it's all about this. It's based on my own journey of being stressed years ago, clinically stressed, and having to learn. I thought meditation was for Tibetan monks. It was all a bit of nonsense, which other people should do. Now I'm behind us, I don't know if you can see in the camera, the gherkin is just there, but it's starting to get into the boardrooms. I had to kind of sneak it in through the back door. So I talk about a power guided relaxation session. Because if I went into a boardroom and talked about doing meditation a few years ago, people would look at me as if I was mad, really. You say, hey, we're going to do a focused guided relaxation exercises or a power relaxation. That was kind of, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And it was meditation by another name. And I think for those who don't do it or don't practice it, it's a reset for the mind. And so if your computer's not working properly, you've got too many tabs open, of course it slows right down, doesn't it? The internal CPU stops working, and often we just have to shut the thing down and restart to clear everything out. Well, that's meditation.
Yes.
You know, life starts piling in on us, work and professional life, and we get to that point, if we don't have that clarity, because we don't always get it through sleep.
Yeah, no, you don't. And if you don't have that clarity, you could end up making bad decisions, or decisions that are not quite right for you, or how you may see things from a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And that quieter time, we all know that if you're stressed and angry and you're under it, then we snap. We say things that we might not really want to, and we probably make decisions sometimes that we regret. If you're feeling chilled and calm, then you kind of, hey, I'm all right with that. I'm going to think about really a bit of a solution. I'll take a moment. If I don't know what decision to make right at this second about whether it's a work matter or something personally, you'll say, oh, I'm going to take the time to actually think about that. Whereas if you feel really under pressure, you're taught. So there's good stress, of course, and let's not forget, stress helps you get stuff done. It has lots of benefits, but negative stress and being in an overwhelmed state is really bad. So meditation works.
Definitely, and like I said, because there are so many great apps out there. So if you don't want to do the total silent meditation, definitely look at all these different apps. They're really useful and they'll be very helpful.
Fabulous, thank you. So if you were to just share a last couple of words of wisdom, tips or tricks in terms of being a successful entrepreneur, keeping focused and personally and professionally, let's put you on the spot.
Yeah.
What would you like to share with our audience?
There's probably a fair few. In terms of definitely, so in my position, I'm running my own business. So for me, it's really important to be part of different networking groups. So you are having people connection, and you've got a bit of a support network around you. It's great. You need human connection, I feel. So definitely invest in yourself to be part of a networking group. Not only to grow your business, of course, that is one of the reasons you will be part of a networking group, but to be surrounded by like-minded people.
Yes.
So definitely, that's a big tick. If you're running a business, it helps to share and collaborate and all sorts of things.
Support.
Yeah, that peer-to-peer support. In terms of other things, just always be working on your own business. Yes, you'll be doing things for clients. Do always continue to look at your own business and where is it going, what are you doing, what kind of impact are you making, because you're not only in business to make money. It's about the purpose of the business, and not forgetting that part, because business can be stressful, but then if you're always aligned back to your brand purpose, it's a nice place to be, and then again operating from that state of, this is the impact, this is the value that I'm bringing to other people. And I truly believe business brands have that ability to positively impact people, society, communities, that kind of thing. So how are you using that brand for good in that sense? And just meditation, do the meditation.
You've heard it here. Yes. Do the meditation. Yeah, and I love what you said about we're all in business to make profit. Of course we are, but true profit, the real value, is within ourselves, in our well-being, in how we feel we've achieved.
Yes.
And so I think that's the holistic part of it.
Definitely.
And when you feel fulfilled on a daily basis, we tend to be in a space where we attract more wealth, we attract more abundance, so it's great to hear.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day.
Pleasure.
There'll be details about you on the screen when people are watching this, and I look forward to us working together more often,
definitely.
sharing in your continued positivity.
Likewise, love what you're doing, and keep up that amazing energy.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, if you've enjoyed this and enjoyed the others, as always, subscribe, give us some comments, tell us maybe what you want to hear in future podcasts. But otherwise, for now, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. All the best. Bye.
Bye.